really is. That big gold dome is 24 karat gold. It's literally 24 karat gold. You can take that, you can melt all that gold off, it'll be the size of a basketball. It's your money paid for that. If you go into there treating it like it's something outside of you or distant from your own power, then don't be surprised when you are treated like it is distant from your own power. I would look at that state capital, and not only the capital, but any of these governmental municipalities around here as your bank account. If you know you will have somebody's head by the end of the day if they play with the money in your own private bank account. I don't know if it's Bank of America, Truist. If you had money stashed in a mattress, somebody touches it, you're gonna have their head. Then why would you treat that capital any different? Just because they have business and so on? What does that mean? That's your money. So if you look at the bottom of your paycheck, it's going to pay for everything to a tune of $36 billion with a B. So we have to stay active and let people see you. They gotta see you. If they can't see you, they can't see you, which means they can't find opportunities to fund the things that actually require us to participate. Whereas if we have a participatory democracy. So for me, at the Capitol, for me it's different in terms of my relationship to the cannabis industry. Because I have spent years, over a decade ago, processing thousands of criminal arrest warrants for real petty, just things that for people they should not have to go to jail for. Mm-hmm. You want to hit them up with a $5 fine or something because they have it on them, then I don't think that if you have less than an ounce of weed on you, you shouldn't be going to jail for some long sentence and then have it stack up over time that eventually it will bar you from getting the type of employment that will allow you to actually feed your families. Mm-hmm. And because of that, last 2023, I dropped House Bill 478 so that you can actually have the weed decriminalized for less than an ounce. And it allows also for you to be pardoned if you've actually gotten arrested on it prior. But when we are constantly in a state where we're more addicted to imposing the will of the state on people's lives to make it harder for them to live, then what we're actually doing, as I learned at the Capitol, is that somebody's always benefiting whenever you see that problem. And our state has an addiction to, it's just what it is. Our state has an addiction to forced labor. Wow. We saw that from the very earliest days of the state. And we also know it when we have these big private prisons. When you can go online and you can literally see Core Civic, which is one of the biggest private prison management companies in Georgia. They're raking in billions of dollars for constantly filling these prisons up with people who have trumped up charges over a period of time and may not even have had the opportunity to secure an attorney who's really working on their behalf. A state where you literally have so many people on the docket that justice actually is something that people hope for, but whether they actually get it is at least much to be desired. Because when you have a stack of cases and judges only got so many hours a day, then oftentimes you've got to push people through the system, and it's just like a grinder. Hopefully you come out on the other side looking like you did when you came in. But we have a strong presence here in this space. I'm sure you know Alexis Harris, Coach Mike Harris. They're always active, completely active with letting us know. And I know that you all are familiar with Senate Bill 494. That we, Democrats, we're there, and we do our best to stand on principles and vote down certain bills. But then we don't. There's also other tactics that we can take, even though we may be in the minority. But a lot of this is chess, and that type of chess is not known to the general public because, again, they don't teach us in school. They should, and it'd be great for parents to teach their kids how it works. But usually most working class parents are busy at work. By the time you get at home, You ain't thinking about trying to teach nobody this. You just say, you know what? I got a family that I love and I miss, and I don't have much time to be able to talk to them, see them. Let me sit down and understand what they're going through. But the burden of people in the working class is that while we know that that we are in a system of capitalism, has haves and have-nots. It means those haves have the comfort of knowing, the comfort of being able to know who is a direct or indirect recipient of the monies that they have. Those who are on the have-not side have the, whether you like it or not, you have the burden is put on you about the decisions that the haves have made with those people who represent them. And the burden sticks with you. And so it's unfair if we look at human access, people being able to have access to those in power and to be able to understand their own plight and what they can do about it. But just because it's unfair, we still have the obligation to do more, to go beyond what our job description is or what our role is as a parent or as a brother or as a sister or as a teacher or as a volunteer or as a mentor. We got to go extra because the system that we live in was never designed to have everybody have equal access. It just wasn't. It was because I saw, even in our own state, minority contracting is horrible. The contract rate, the governor's office makes to help bolster the types of relationships that allow regular businesses like Hemp Haven to be able to contract with those who are overseas. A number of any of the 53 African countries that exist that do business in Georgia. On our site, you go to georgia-africa.com. You're going to find 13 Global 100 and Fortune 500 companies that are already existing in Georgia that have great relationships overseas. But guess what? It's not just with the continent of Africa. There's so many businesses that are already based here in Georgia that have working relationships because there is some products and service and delivery with other countries. Why do we get to do that? Because we got the world's busiest airport and we have the third busiest port in the entire country, the Port of Savannah. You go down there, raise your hand if you've been to Savannah within the last 3 years. Okay? So it's all right. So when you went down there, you probably noticed you got a whole lot more towers of freight. You even have an area up there that the state put forth called the Mason Mega Rail. It's 85 acres of just stacks and stacks of freight. During the pandemic, remember the pandemic when we all had to wear these? I'm only wearing it now because I want to eat dinner with my family for New Year's, and my folks' health compromised. So I got to get clean. Even though I feel great, I can't just I trust everything's fine. Forget that. I'm not trying to send them. I'm not trying to put them in the ground just yet. Don't ever think that they're so big. I mean, gosh, they don't pay us enough, right? But who cares? If you're so busy focused on trying to be a leader, then that means you're probably a pretty horrible servant. We're state representatives. We're not district representatives, just like you have state senators. And they're not district senators, which means all of us in our individual capacity may have between 70,000 and 150,000 people who can vote for us, but we represent the interests of the entire state, which means hold us to account. And probably part of holding to account means that you have to be able to count. Count what we do for your lives, and literally everything we do. I mean, again, I'm showing my age here. It's right there. It's on that phone. Okay. So I'll be around, and I'll be able to share this with you all because I think it's better for you to see it and read it on your own phone than to hear it from me. But it's even on our state's ag site for Senate Bill 494, what it does and what it doesn't do, including the provisions that were passed just a couple, maybe 8 months ago, to restrict the sale of those gummies, a lot of those gummy products, which I know is probably going to be a hit on Hemp Haven and stores like you, where you thought, hey, you already passed the Hemp Industrialization Act, House Bill 324 back in 2019 when I got in, and House Bill 233 that allows for medicinal marijuana. But wait a second, I went and worked it out with sellers out of state, and we brought in products that are gummies, and we have responsible customers coming in. What is this? What's this craziness that you're doing on these restrictions? Or you have the Georgia Access to Cannabis Commission, and you're looking like, hey, wait a second. You all said that you were going to be providing licenses to everybody. You can make it available. But now we got these extra hoops you got to come in, where you got to have so much money in the bank. Your credit line has to be at this level. It's got to have, for a minority contractor, again, remember, that's where I put that really horribly disadvantaged minority contract formula in there. That's still what the state goes by. And yet, those people whose communities are most impacted by the sale and distribution of marijuana, they can't even be able to get their people together and go line by line and make sure that they have a legal business and still be able to get a contract. Know that it's not fair, and are attempting to do as best they can to impose their will on you without you daring to ask, where's my money? So, what I would suggest, it's just my simple suggestion, actually two things. First is this.